Now you're going to deploy something called a mental management program. Now this is something I learned from a book called With Winning in Mind. And essentially what you're doing is you're learning to manage the stress of in the moment executions. So he talked about it in the book as he was a rifle shooter, and every time he went to go and take a shot for the rifle, he went through some sort of process within his mind in order to control the stress that's going on in his mind. So I essentially use that within my trading now in order to execute a trade in exactly the same way every single time, regardless of how I feel, right? Regardless if I've gone through a breakup, regardless if I've got any stress in my life, regardless of whether I've lost the last trade that I've taken. Any of those situations don't come into play when you have a mental management program, because you're learning the right way to execute on a trade. So essentially, here's what the mental management program is. Now, before you take a trade, you essentially start to talk to yourself in your mind about how you want to execute the trade, right? And this mental management program, the important part of it is you've already written down exactly the actions that you're going to take before you actually take the trade and before you actually go into this process. This is why it's called a mental management program, because you're managing yourself through every single execution phase of the trade in order to keep the trade executions in a consistent manner.